She was a whore, Father.
We're about to see contrasting westerns from two very unlikely directors. The main difference is that Martin Scorsese's epic Killers of the Flower Moon weighs in at a seat-numbing 3.5 hours, while Pedro Almodóvar's Strange Way of Life barely reaches 30 minutes. It opens on Pedro Pascal riding into town wearing the brightest green jacket in the West.
Mr. Silva in person.
How are you, Jake?
I'm good. What brings you to town?
Oh, my back is killing me, and I hear you have a good doctor in town.
Silva is clearly an old friend of Jake, Ethan Hawke, wearing mostly blue. Jake's outfits are only muted in contrast with Silva's wardrobe, which also includes bright red and yellow checkered shirts. The film was actually produced by the Yves Saint Laurent fashion house.
Well, you look well.
No, it's you. Who look impressive, dressed as a sheriff.
I'm not just dressed as one. I am one.
Well, it suits you.
Now, I'm not sure what your idea of a Western is, but it's possibly not the same as Pedro Almodóvar. Silva's barely hung up his green jacket before he and Jake are in bed, reliving old times. Not so much Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid as Brokeback Mountain and The Power of the Dog.
A woman was found killed in town.
But Silva has more on his mind than relighting an old flame. He knows Sheriff Jake is on the hunt for a killer, and that killer is Silva's son Joe. Can Silva appeal to Jake's better nature and get Joe off? Maybe Jake can quit the job and the pair can set up a ranch together. Is there a chance Silva can get in another change of shirt before the end of a very short film? It's not your standard Western, in other words, but if it were, would we be disappointed? Almodóvar's films are nothing if not individual, with colourful, groundbreaking classics vying with mad lapses of taste.
Don't look at me like that.
How do you want me to look at you?
Strange Way of Life is as peculiar as its running time. In the cinema, the 30-minute feature is padded out by a 30-minute monologue from the writer, director, producer explaining his aims for the film. Whatever its length, it couldn't be further from the square-jawed tradition of a man's got to do what a man's got to do.
Enough, Joe!
What are you doing?
You never loved me. You never loved anyone in your life. Don't say that.
Much of Strange Way of Life is spent watching Pedro Pascal and Ethan Hawke smouldering at each other over glasses of red wine rather than the traditional bottles of whiskey. One for die-hard fans of Almodóvar, I think, rather than people nostalgic for the westerns of their youth. And I suppose fans of Yves Saint Laurent. I was certainly drawn to those primary coloured shirts rather more than to the equally garish movie.
Years ago, you asked me what two men could do living together on a ranch. I'll answer you now.